Hello everyone, it is day 21 of my trip to the UK, November 15th, and I am currently staying in Southport with the Worgan family, who are so kindly nursing me back to health as I have come down sick with a cold. I tested multiple times over multiple days to make sure it wasn't COVID. So today I wanted to do a flashback to November 2nd when Yvonne and Hannah took me to Preston to the Flowerbowl Entertainment Center. That day, not only did we play an incredible game of mini golf, which is covered in another episode of this series, but we also decided to play some pool. And they had all of these mini tables with really inventive and difficult courses to play through, all with different themes. This first table looks like sunflowers and has all of these mounds that can easily push you off course. Hannah is the color purple, Yvonne is the color pink, and I went with gold. We each go one at a time, and if you go off the table, you get a penalty stroke. So Hannah starts out almost nailing it, but going a little bit too strong, having to take a second shot here, hoping to get it into the hole, but those sunflower heads are raised and can easily push you off course. It's also just very difficult to get into the hole in general. As you can see, it took 5 shots for Hannah, but that's still respectable on this course. Yvonne's then going next. She's pink and nearly makes it into the hole, but then ends up in a very tough position having to go around the sunflower head. So she gives it a gentle little tap, but then misses the hole, rolls almost back into it, and is able to finish this out with 4. I started out with a very powerful shot, almost too powerful, but it did get me pretty close to the hole, and I then ended up lining up my shot and nailing it in 2. This next hole is so adorable. It is a worm crawling through these gaps in the path, and Hannah's first shot gets her pretty far along, but these raised edges are pretty difficult to navigate. Her second shot ending kind of back up where she started, and of course you have the worm itself blocking your shots as well. Hannah manages to bounce it off the worm's neck pretty well here and ends the hole with 4. I then took my best shot through the rings here, getting pretty far along the course, had a difficult shot there to get to the final section, and then I take my third shot hoping to nail it, going just past though. However, the ball rolls pretty darn close and I can nail this in 4 shots as well. I then noticed that the ceiling was literally an upside down chessboard, which was such a cool design. Yvonne then takes her shot, again getting into a pretty tricky situation here, having to shoot through the worm itself, ending up basically back where she started here on her second shot. Her third shot wasn't strong enough to get over that ridge, but her fourth shot was, lining her up for a pretty solid shot, but it just missed, and so it took a total of 7 shots to get the ball in. This table was just how hard it was to see once you were into that orange forest. Hannah's first shot didn't go really as planned, so she gave a lot of energy into the second one, and she nails the third shot in the forest. I then gave it my best shot, but ended up bouncing off the table entirely and having to take a penalty shot. And my third shot basically went slightly more as planned. My fourth shot basically got me back to where I had started it from. My fifth shot got me closer, and my sixth shot nailed it. Yvonne's first shot bounced around these trees, and her second shot was needed to get her closer to the hole. However, her third shot should have nailed it, but didn't, so it took her 4 for this hole. Coming into a beautiful aquatic koi pond, hole number 4, Hannah's first shot navigates the pathways and almost nails it at the koi pond, but it rolled past the hole and now looks like she's going to need to take another shot. Her second shot, of course, she lines it up carefully and it goes almost in, and her third shot just needs a little tap and it is in. My first shot was not powerful enough, so I gave it more strength with my second shot, which completely bounced off the table out onto the floor. Everybody was laughing. What a shot. It just bounced and bounced and bounced right out of bounds, so I had to take a penalty shot there. Not what you want to hear, but was very entertaining. I then took my third shot, which got me properly still on the table and close enough that I could finish this hole out with a score of 5. Yvonne's shot went very, very well, almost nailing it, but bouncing out. Her second shot landing it in, so she's making up some ground here. This next hole had a bunch of birds and a bird bath. It also had an adorable squirrel at the end here. So Hannah takes her first shot, almost nailing it, bouncing to a position where the squirrel's foot then gets in the way. Her third shot again almost gets in, but then she's back to the same problem. Has to navigate her way so she can get a straight shot at the hole and avoid the squirrel's feet. So she got a score of 5 for this hole. I then take my first shot, hoping to stay on the table after everything, but I still gave it too much power and ended up in the treacherous bird bath here. Once the ball finally stopped rolling, I gave it my best shot to get out of the hole, which was pretty good for the aim, but again, too much power. On my third stroke, I got it in though. Yvonne did pretty well with her first shot, almost nailing it, and just having to take a little gentle final shot to get it in 2, which was very impressive. This hole had a tree that, if you navigated correctly like Hannah did, would swing the ball around through that root. Hannah then takes her second shot and lines herself up to sink it in 3. I then tried to do the same thing but did not succeed, so I had to take a second shot through that tree and got behind this root, which was very difficult to navigate my way out of, and it ended up taking me not 4 but actually 5 shots to get this in. My 5th shot should have been no problem, but I was too gentle and very frustrated about it. Oh, but then I got it in. Yvonne gave it a very good start, got around the root successfully, almost went in, and nailed this hole in 2. We didn't film Hannah's first 3 strokes here, but based on the scores we wrote down, we know that she did take those 3 strokes. And here it's a desert set. There are a lot of ridges, and so in the end, this hole took Hannah 8. So we're going to see if I can do it in less. My first shot does go well and gets me pretty almost all the way into a hole-in-one. That would have been so cool. This hole took me just 2 shots, so I was pretty proud of that. Hole-in-2, let's go! Yvonne's first shot navigates the desert very, very well, almost getting a hole-in-one as well. Gets a hole-in-2, moving into hole 8. Hannah does well with her first shot, getting her to the final section, almost nailing it in a hole-in-one. So it takes her just 2 shots. My first shot bounces up the ramp and gets me pretty darn close to the hole, so I take my second shot here, almost nail it. My third shot also almost nails it. My 4th shot almost also nails it. My 5th one finally got in. Yvonne's second shot starts off very well, getting her well within reach of the hole, and she nails it again in just 2 strokes. This hole is flower themed and is much more tricky than perhaps it looks. There's a ramp that if you nail it, you go straight up the ramp, you can get this in 1 shot. That's what Hannah attempted to do, but ended up bouncing and flying off of the table, taking a penalty shot in the process. Hannah went up the ramp but gave it too much strength, and so now has to navigate around the tulip to one of those entrances on either side, which are trickier to get into than they look, but she does manage well on her final stroke. My first attempt to go up the ramp completely missed it. I ended up bouncing around, so I just continued playing from that point, trying to line myself up with either of those doors, but it did not go well. I tried again with my 3rd shot here. I have a chance with the 4th shot here, and I nailed it. Yvonne also wanted to try and go up the ramp, but ended going almost back to where she started. Tried to hit it around again, but ended up further than when she started originally. Went up the ramp successfully, but just didn't have enough strength. Her 4th stroke didn't have enough power. The 5th bounced off the side of the tulip door. Lined her up well, but then something went wrong with that last shot, and she ended up bouncing out of the way, struggling to get around to a point where she could get back to those doors, bouncing all around this hole. She had such a good lead and is now just struggling. And this sort of thing can happen to any of us on a hole like this. I mean, she is a good player. In fact, one of her shots bounced up and nearly hit the camera there, ending up so far back at the beginning that she can try and go for the ramp again, but misses. Thankfully, however, she ends up nailing it in this hole. So the way that this final hole number 10 works is you load up all 3 of your golf balls into this tube, pull a lever, and it sends them down this gear path that goes up the wall, and it's all automated. The balls go up in a random order. They end up going down random paths here. Once they line up in one of these 4 slots, they're then lined up with different paths that they can go down. And so we then pull a lever, and we're hoping to see which of these balls gets down first. So as you can see, they're all going down different paths. You can take a look at which one you're rooting for. You never know quite what's going to happen. They all are pretty even at this point. Mine gets to the bottom swirling basin first, with Yvonne's second and Hannah's third. but they're still circling the drain. It's anybody's game here. It's very, very close, and I cannot believe it, but I get in first, Hannah second, and then Yvonne was in third. So that gives you the corresponding number of points, 1 point, 2 points, or 3 points. And so now our scores, Yvonne is in third place with 43 strokes, Hannah is in second place with 40 strokes, but I won this game with 38 strokes, getting first place. And so we had to go back to that really difficult hole here, and we just wanted to try to get up the ramp. Here I am on my third attempt. Fourth attempt goes too far. Fifth attempt, still too much energy. I mean, still giving it too much power. I missed the ramp on my 8th attempt, went out of bounds on my 9th. My 10th didn't go in, but it was my 11th attempt that got it, and I totally pretended like I got it in a hole-in-one. Hannah gave it a shot, just missed on the first attempt, too little on the second attempt, and nailed it on the third. And Yvonne nailed it in one shot here after practicing so much on that hole. Next up, Hannah, Yvonne, and I decided to play some shuffleboard. We split up into 2 teams, blue and red. Hannah is the red team, and Yvonne and I swapped off for the blue team. Goal of this is just to get as close to the target and the end of the board as possible without going off the other end or being knocked off. And then we swap to a new round after a certain number of shots. Red's got 2 on the board here, and I'm trying to knock red off, and I succeeded, but there's still 1 on the board. Red knocks themselves off here. My shot totally went past the end of the board. Red did as well. Here's a shot from me that knocked the final red one off, so there were 0 points that round. Red doesn't get on the board. Blue does. Red completely misses, so does blue. It was a real problem going off the side as well, but we were getting the hang of it. Knocked blue off, so no points achieved there. No points lost either. Red is now on the board, and blue, hits red but knocks it into a blue and knocks it off the table. Starting another round here, red and blue overshoot. Red's going for a spot. It looks like it's so easy, but you think you've not given enough power, and then it just slides off the end there. So it definitely takes some touch, getting used to it. That was a good shot by red, and then blue knocked it straight off and really close to that center of the target there. And then here I am lining up for another shot. Too much power though. Red going again. Looks like it's going too fast. The blue shot completely rolled off the side and kept rolling on its side, which was quite fun. And the red again goes off at the end. Blue trying to land on the target. Too fast though. We really were just giving it too much power, but we weren't trying all that hard either. We just wanted to have some fun. These were really fun to film. I think this was the most fun sport that I filmed today because you got to follow it and run along with the puck, and I really enjoyed filming the shuffleboard. Red gets almost exactly on the target there, knocked off by blue here. Hoping to get another one on the board here. Blue goes completely off as well. Red slowly sliding into place. That's 3 points right there. Blue, too much speed, misses the red that's on the board now. Red didn't land either, but blue then knocked it off, so we're back to 0 points. So I think in the end, the blue team, Yvonne and I, won. Back in Southport, I was still recovering from being sick, so the most important thing was taking it easy, because the sooner I could recover and get back to feeling better, the sooner I could get back to my adventures in the UK.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Doctor Who Guide YouTube channel. Now,
don't forget to subscribe to the Doctor Who Guide YouTube channel. You know it makes sense.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Doctor Who Guide YouTube channel.
Hello. Don't forget to subscribe to the Doctor Who YouTube channel guide.